It's a fascinating experience, fame. Changed my life in lots of ways. People would offer me money to go to a party, to show up at their party. And it's not me, I knew that. It was James Bond. You know, James Bond's coming to my party. You know, that's not George Lazenby.
Were you aware of that at the time?
Not totally. You think you're somebody, you know, until the rug gets pulled out from under you.
The new Bond. If you think you know your Bond, think again. This one's different.
It's true!
Lazenby. George Lazenby. The different Bond.
So after we wrapped the movie, the film was coming out, and I hadn't seen it. But I must have done a pretty good job because they wanted me to sign for 6 more Bond films.
The film is a fantastic box office success. And in America, Mr. Lazenby himself has been voted the most promising newcomer of the year.
I went the whole film without signing the contract. And the United Artists were getting on their case. How could you let that guy finish the movie without signing the contract? So they had to coax me along.
Sign the fucking contract.
It was called a slave contract, where they tell you how to dress, what you can do, and what you can't do, what kind of films you can be in.
It's simple. Sign it, become rich.
What have we here?
And that's when Harry offered me $1 million under the table
Yeah.
to sign that effing contract. Ronan O'Reilly, who was my manager at the time, said, "Don't worry about that. There's a guy called Clint Eastwood. He's getting 500 grand. You'll be able to make 2 movies in 6 weeks. You'll get $1 million."
Go ahead.
I'll have to think about it.
You're an idiot. You really are an idiot. What's there to think about?
And he got up and stomped off because if I won't change my mind for $1 million, what can they do?
He's a man who appears to know his own mind and has maintained a stubborn sense of individuality. He grew a beard, for instance, and refused to shave it off for the film premiere.
I naturally grew a beard because, first of all, it would stop me being recognized. And I can remember getting a call saying,
Don't come to the premiere of the movie if you're gonna have a beard. You ruined everything with your beard. Don't you get it? Bond doesn't have a beard. Hippie piece of shit.
but I did show up with a beard. It was, royal premiere. I was recognized and photographed. And I was standing in line meeting the royals. The producers didn't want me to go there, but I had these guys buy the short and curlies because they'd finished the movie and I hadn't signed the contract.
When the film was finished, you went on a publicity tour of the United States, which you paid for yourself. Why?
On principle, I was promised a tour of the United States to publicize the film. I was looking forward to it. And because of my beard and long hair, I wasn't allowed to go. I was allowed to go on the condition that I looked like James Bond.
The new James Bond. Will you welcome George Lazenby?
Most people wanted to meet the new James Bond. People like that guy.
And I said, well, anyone can understand that James Bond isn't a real person. And they're not going to mind the fact that I haven't had a shave for a month.
Welcome, and George, very good to have you with us. One doesn't think of James Bond with a beard. Do you wear a beard in the film?
No, it's, as a matter of fact, I'm out of the film now, and I'm George Lazenby again, you see.
They wanted me to stay in the image of Bond at all times.
Do you carry on the James Bond thing off stage, off camera?
No, like I said before, James Bond was me being an actor, as an actor. And I don't think anyone can carry on that way.
It's a tough umbrella to walk under, that James Bond thing.
It's great entertainment, James Bond, but I don't think it happens to us in our real life.
You've got to be real with yourself, and it's not easy with all the influences you have coming at you.
My next guest is someone who very soon is going to be a household name.
He has taken over the role of James Bond from Sean Connery. So let's please welcome George Lazenby.
After I did the David Frost show, I went on Johnny Carson the next day, and it's hard to imagine someone doing this, what I did, who's sane. And when he asked me,
so what was it like to be James Bond?
I said,
well, it
was fun, but I don't want to do it anymore.
Oh, that's good. You should be over here in my seat. Is that funny?
He was laughing. The audience was laughing.
That's a good line. You're joking, right? You're not serious.
Yes, quite serious.
I turned it all down. The 7-picture deal, $1 million bonus, and I said no.
That's a lot of money you're passing up. Have you ever thought about maybe, just changing your mind and doing another picture or two?
Well, I think I'll be okay. You in the market for a car?
Just, I have to wish you the best of luck. You're a very confident young man, charming young man, and, ladies and gentlemen, George Lazenby.
I really didn't know how to explain it. Why I did it, what I was thinking or feeling. I still don't know why. I just didn't feel in my heart it was the right thing. It's an instinctive thing, and it's a voice inside you. And you don't think of the consequences. I was totally blacklisted after Bond. I couldn't get on any known film set. 5 years down the road after Bond, hardly anybody took much notice of me.
Poor old George, I don't know what he's doing now, but he's definitely the architect of his own demise as a film star.
My name became a punchline.
George Lazenby, legendary actor because he played James Bond once.
Pope Benedict figured he'd be a mere palate cleanser pope, the George Lazenby, if you will, to John Paul II's Sean Connery.
It's a famously bad decision.
Yes.
That's fame for you. I can remember when it fell off. I used to get a table at the Dorchester Hotel sometimes for dinner. I'd ring up and they'd give me the best table right there. And rang up one day and they said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Lazenby, you haven't got any table." This is after I got some bad press and whatnot. "Haven't got any table." "Oh, okay." So I'd ring back and say, "Oh, it's Cary Grant here. Do you have a table for 4? "Oh, yes, Mr. Grant." And I'd show up and I'd say, "Cary Grant's coming." And then I'd call him and say, "Oh, he just called me, he's not coming now." Just to stick it back up him, Judy, this is Cary Grant here.
Well, looking back on it now, it's taken up a year of your life. You've taken a few kicks from some of the critics and some of the press. Has it been worth it?
I think so. I hope so, anyway.
I've always done what I thought was the right thing. And it's not always the right thing, but I thought it was at the time. When I look back on it, I should have done too, just to prove to people I wasn't fired. But it was a mistake, but in a way, this is who I am. I don't know why. It doesn't make sense to some people to say, he's mad, he's crazy. But I lived my life the way I wanted to. You can't get hung up on something like that, or your life's over.
Does it concern you at all that you may well have turned your back on a large fortune?
Oh, it does in a way. I mean, everyone would like to be secure, money-wise. But I've never been that secure with money, and I think I can make a living at a few other things.
Which would you prefer, to be a stereotyped James Bond or a car salesman like you used to be?
Car salesman like I used to be.
Becoming Bond was never my end goal.
While he admits there are days he regrets his decision, Lazenby says he's put James Bond behind him.
I got married. I had a couple of kids. I went into real estate. I was very successful there. I ended up racing motocross. I always wanted to race motorcycles. It's very hard for people to understand, but living life on your own terms, in your own way, you feel like it's much fuller. The best thing you can do is know yourself and feel yourself and be yourself. Yeah, I may not be great, but I'm an original.
Perhaps the most controversial choice to play James Bond was my next guest. He took over for the first time from Sean Connery. And if that wasn't tough enough, he wasn't an actor, but nonetheless, the film he made on Her Majesty's Secret Service is celebrated by some as one of the best Bond films. Welcome, please, George Lazenby.
I'm proud of my life. When I look back, I was very fortunate to have half a kidney and expected to live till 12. Here I am, 76, and I've done everything and more than I ever expected to. I was happy to be a motor mechanic, happy to be a car salesman, happy to be a model, happy to be James Bond, happy to marry the person I married, happy to have kids. And they've all been wonderful. I can't think of anything I'd change. You know, I'd probably have a few more pretty women around, but what the hell?
What do you hope people remember about your life?
Oh, that's a good one.
So tell me, what have you done?
I'd like them to know that you can defy what is expected of you and write your own story.